I've been there and I've run all of the boats, and I know what it's like, and I know what it's like to show up early, and I know what it's like to leave late and, be out and boating all day long and wanting, oh, we're gonna go back to the dock, and then, oh, never mind, let's go over here and anchor. You're like, it's a tough job, and it's always important to me to keep the crew happy.
Jared, you want to roll into it?
Let's do it.
Cool. Thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad we could time this out. I know we've been trying to do this for a couple weeks, but thanks for moving stuff around. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about as we go through this is, one, how you started the company. That's always fascinating to me personally. But then also kind of the difference as you scaled it from either one or a couple boats, whatever you started with, to now closing in on 100. Definitely want to ask you what that journey's been like and what you've had to do to make that sustainable. I want to ask you about why you focus so much on the customer details. I also want to talk to you about digitizing your processes, some of the stuff we were talking about yesterday, and then this trend you're seeing towards smaller yachts. So I got the bullets. We'll come back to these, but dude, how did you get this started?
Yeah, so I became a yacht broker. I was always on the service side of things for my whole life. My family was always in this industry, and I was always around boats, around stuff like that, and I would see these yacht brokers pull up when I'm like in the engine room or like polishing the top of a boat or something like that. And they would like pull up in their nice car and like have a nice shirt on and in the air conditioning. And I'm like, I want that. That's what I want. So whatever I got to do to get that, that's what I want to do. And some time went on, and I ended up getting out of the marine industry for a little while, and then jumped back in it. And I jumped back in as a yacht broker. And I worked for Atlantic Yacht and Ship. They gave me a great opportunity, taught me a lot. A couple guys there took me under their wing, and I sold some boats and everything like that. But yacht broking is it's a tough game, a really, really tough game. It's either feast or famine, and it's one of those situations. And I was in a place where I couldn't really afford to just be a yacht broker, and long story short, I was actually talking about this with the client I was with before I came here. He kind of asked me the same question, and
you did a little interview prep.
Yeah. And it was really funny. The guy that brought me into Atlantic Yacht and Ship, a very, very dear friend of mine that I owe a lot to, that gave me a chance, believed in me, and gave me an opportunity. I was washing and sort of taking care of his 55 Zealander, and I was making $400 a week. And I told him, I said, listen, like, I need to pay my bills. I need to do something because like my family doesn't like help me out with money. I don't, I need to make some money here.
Sure.
And so I was making $400 a week washing the Zealander, once a week, and sort of doing the strainers and checking things and kind of getting the boat ready for him and doing whatever he asked me to do. And when I was taking care of that boat, I really liked it. I like felt good about it. Like I had accomplished something, and that I like can make something look nice. And when the owners come, it's presentable and it's staged and it's and it feels good and they're happy about it and all these things. And I really like that. And one thing led to another. Long story short, I was introduced to the owner of Vanquish Yachts, and I was taking care of a couple boats and, doing my thing in Fort Lauderdale. I had the Zealander, I had a big 80-foot Hatteras, and a few other, boats like that. I think I had a 39 Nortec at the time. And so I got a call one day and said, hey, can you come meet the owner or meet this guy who's the owner of Vanquish Yachts? And I said, yeah, no problem. And, a few weeks before that, I was doing some stuff on a boat, and, they were like, oh, you got to meet this guy. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm like,
sure.
I hear this all the time, sounds good. Call me whenever,
Yep.
And so I end up going to meet this guy, and him and I hit it off, and still a great friend of mine today. And one thing led to another, and he approached me about a month later, I think, and said, can you put together, like a proposal for a client? I have a brand new 50-foot Vanquish coming in, and we'll present it to the client, and it's going to be in the Miami Boat Show and this and that. And I said, yeah, no problem. And I put together the first like real, like full management YMS program. It's actually, I actually have it framed.
Okay.
But I sent it over, and I met the client at the boat show, and he looked at it real quick and said, when can you start? And I said, right now, tomorrow, whenever you want, So we went through the boat show, and that was my first, like I said, I was taking care of some other boats and stuff and doing a lot, but this was like my full, 100% do everything, I'm responsible for everything management boat. And Vanquish is a really big part of the story and the journey. I love the boats. I love those guys, and the owner of the company, great guy, and has done a lot for me. And I want to say I've helped him out too. And it's just a phenomenal relationship. But, when I got that boat, it really, at the time, it was kept in Miami and Miami Beach, and it sort of injected me into the Miami Beach and, Miami yachting scene. And, we would do, lunch at Sea Spice and, go to Nixon and Anchor and do all this stuff. And I was running the boat the whole time,
You were the captain on it too?
I was running it. I was doing everything on it, washing it, cleaning it, doing strainers, checking systems, scheduling service, managing the yard periods, doing all this stuff. And then another Vanquish came. And then, in between those couple Vanquishes, I had picked up another couple boats. I had a 47 Intrepid, then I got another 47 Intrepid. I had a 39 Nortec, the Zealander I was doing, a couple Vanquishes.
Did you still have that Hatteras at that time?
Yep, I still had the Hatteras, and it was crazy. I always tell my guys, like, every Thursday was like a crazy day for me. I'd wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go to the Hatteras in Lauderdale, do the whole thing, wash the whole boat, then head to Miami Beach Marina, do the 50 Vanquish, get all that squared away, then go to a 54 Vanquish that I ended up eventually getting. It's still down in Miami Beach. The captain's a great friend of mine. Do that boat, and then go to their 39 Nortec and do that boat. And I would be done at like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And that was like my Thursday routine,
Yep.
But things always, even to this day, I never really like scaled. Like I never, like on purpose. Like I always, I've rejected a lot of boats, and sometimes I still do if they don't like fit our profile and what we're doing. But I've always done things very organically. I think I had 11 boats by myself that I was doing everything on until I hired my first guy. And the only reason that I needed another guy was because it was taking me 8-9 hours to do a 3 or 4 hour job, because I was on the phone all day long, dealing with stuff, calling, taking, calls from owners, scheduling stuff, whatever it was, troubleshooting, this and that. And then I needed a guy. I needed to, it was that turning point of either I'm going to stay where I'm at and kind of have 8 to 10 boats and just kind of chill, or I'm going to take this thing to the next level. And, it's like never enough for me, like
Okay.
I wanted to make the turn to, because I knew something was there and it was going really well. And, the guy that I hired was great. He still works for me today. He runs the entire, Sag Harbor and Hamptons location. We have a whole huge fleet of boats up there. And this guy didn't know how to hold a deck brush, and I taught him everything he knows. And, don't get me wrong, he's learned a lot on the way from other technicians and people and stuff. But I hired this guy, and he was just a solid guy. You know, I gave him something to do. I never had to think about it. I always had a good attitude, never said no. You know, and now he's making an extremely good living and, you know, really doing a great job and taking care of a whole location for me that I don't even have to talk to the clients other than to say hello and how you doing, you know, which is great. And I love that, you know, I love watching, you know, some of these people grow and move up in the ranks and, you know, that started as boat washers, but now are managers or, you know, operations managers or service coordinators or whatever it is. You know, I'm very big on promoting from within. If you know, show up and you do a great job and you put in the extra time and the extra effort, you know, you work hard, I'm happy to move people up, you know.
Sure.
And that's how I operate because nothing was ever really handed to me, you know. My family didn't help me out with the business, you know. I tried, you know, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, like, you know, can you throw me some clients, or hey, can you help me out, or introduce me to somebody, or whatever it was. But the answer was always no, you know. And now looking back on it, I appreciate that because I had to do it on my own and work hard and work every single day and all day and night and put in all the time and effort. And it's really great and it's paid off pretty well. But you know, I really pay attention to and appreciate the hard work of the team and what they do. So some time went on and, you know, then I needed a captain or two, you know, to run the boats that I wasn't on. And I ended up meeting a couple guys at the boat show in Fort Lauderdale, you know, in the early days. And those guys still, you know, run with me and run boats for us, you know, all the time. You know, super grateful for the captains and the stews and all the crew members and everything. I tell them that all the time. I say it all the time. You know, it's an extremely important part of the business. It's a big important part of the industry,
Yeah.
right? And now we have such a great captain and crew network that it's just like I don't even know. It's just the most amazing thing. You know, like I look back today and I'm just like, this is amazing. You know, like these guys and the men and women of the crew that we have is just great.
Imagine if you had full control of your boat. You felt safer, eliminated the unknown, and you were able to forecast and plan for your boat's upcoming maintenance instead of being caught off guard. Can you imagine knowing exactly what is installed on your boat down to the part and serial number on all of your standard and custom equipment at a moment's notice? Having instant access to your manuals while at dock or at sea, and provide custom departure checklists specifically for your boat and your crew. Imagine ensuring the safety of your vessels and passengers with instant access to send emergency alerts, and being able to ensure the value and the pedigree of your boat with digital logs recording the full history of every event on your boat. Well, you can with Vessel Vanguard. We are the leading maintenance and safety management software in the marine industry. We work with a wide range of marine industry experts, including yacht owners, captains, ferry, and tugboat operators. If you're looking to safeguard your assets and preserve your revenue, visit vesselvanguard.com and schedule a demonstration for yourself. The link can be found in the show notes below. We look forward to supporting you and your vessel soon.
Yeah, and actually knowing what goes into the job itself is a huge part. It's a big part of leadership, right? Is actually understanding what the people on the ground are doing day to day.
Yeah.
So then you're not asking things that are sometimes literally impossible because you're going to get requests from owners that are
and you know, exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is for me, and I'd like to think that all my guys know this, maybe the new guys not so much, but I try to remind them, like, I've done every single thing that anyone has ever done in this business that works for YMS, I've done. I've scheduled every captain. I've placed every crew member. I've run every boat. I've washed every boat. I've cleaned all the engine rooms. I've done all the strainers. I've, you know, scheduled all the service. I've done it all.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's not one thing that I ask, whether it's my assistant, whether it's somebody doing an invoice, whether it's one of the guys washing the boat, whether it's a guy checking on something, whether it's scheduling service, whatever it is, that I haven't done, you know?
Yeah.
Because there was a time where it was just me. And there was a time there was just me and one other guy. and now we have, you know, a lot of employees and people and everything like that. You know, and it's great, but you know, all of those things I either did on my own or you know, had one or two other people doing it alongside me. So, you know, and I think that not only the captain, Stu's, you know, all these people, but you know, even our direct team, they know, you know, and like tomorrow morning I'm going to train one of my new guys to, you know, washing down, you know.
It's cool.
I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not above anything, you know
Yep.
what I mean? Whatever it takes, you know.
Just get the job done.
Just get the job done. You know, we had a captain pull out of a, it was actually from here. The boat was docked right there. It was a 58 Vanquish, and the captain pulled out last minute, like at 11 o'clock at night for a move-in for a boat show. And you know, I had something important to do that next morning, and that's why I placed this captain, and he pulled out, and you know, I went and ran the boat to Palm Beach and put it in the boat show, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I like to operate, you know, and run things, you know.
And when did you start the company?
2018-ish. Something like
And that's when you
I
had.
had the Zealander in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. So
like
this
that.
is 5 years.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, and yeah, I see it on Instagram like pretty frequently. You guys have another post like, oh, got another Vanquish. See the
Yeah.
Pardos coming like, hey, got a new customer.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like I see like one every single day, but
Yeah.
it's pretty frequently. So what's that growth been like in a short period of time?
War.
War.
No, it's you know, like I said, it's all been, you know, very organic, right? Like, you know, we get and for a while now we can take on, you know, a decent amount of boats without like really getting too flustered with certain things. Right now in the Hamptons, it's absolutely nuts, crazy, super busy. Down here we're busy, but we're busy in other ways with a lot of service and stuff like that. But with growing, you know, like this, I mean, I knew boats were going to be coming in, and I knew like I would, you know, talk to the Vanquish guys or whoever, and I know like I got 10 boats that are potentially going to be ours in the next 6 months. Like I need to hire a couple guys, get them trained up, and then, you know, go from there, right? And
When it hits, you're ready.
and I think that, you know, being able to take on this many boats, it's a little bit of what we talked about, you know, the other day. You got to be very organized, very systematic, very organized, extremely scheduled, and way out in front of everything. And don't get me wrong, you know, we fall short sometimes. You know, I'm not, and I tell clients this when they're, you know, on the phone with me and we're talking about a management program. You know, I tell them, look, you know, I'm a human, and so are my guys, and we're not perfect, and we're perfect a lot of the time, but we're not gonna be perfect every single second of the way. And sometimes I might make a mistake. Sometimes I'll probably drop the ball, you know, just because that's it. And I'm not here to tell you that I'm the greatest thing to ever walk this earth, because I'm not, you know. And that's the approach that I take with everything, not just in business, but in my life, right? And so, you know, growing to, you know, from 10 boats to 50 boats was pretty natural, right?
Okay.
Like it was, you know, we just keep working. We just keep going. Okay, now we got to adjust. All right, now we got 25 boats. We got to adjust from what we were doing at 10 boats. 30 boats, got to adjust from what we were doing at 25 boats, right? And it's sort of gone that way. You know, and then I got so busy in my own life that I needed help. I needed like an assistant to just sort of handle some stuff for me. And then I put that in place, right? And then, you know, we needed a couple more wash guys and systems guys and stuff like that. So we got them in place, you know, and then we promote from within. This guy that I hired as my first guy, you know, I you know, sort of empowered him and gave him an opportunity. In the first season in Sag Harbor, we were, sort of invited there by a few people, and that again gave us an opportunity and believed in us. And I went up there with that. My first guy, his name's Mike. Me and him ran the entire operation by ourselves, just me and him. And I had a guy down here sort of handling things. I was also managing from there, but we ran that whole show. Now he knows what he's supposed to do. Last season, second season, he went and did a phenomenal job.
So that was 2 years ago, and then last season he ran everything solo?
Ran everything solo, and then now this year again, solo, right?
Okay. So basically when you get these new opportunities, you're pretty much in the trenches to help suss out what's going on. Like going to a new market, being, well, how far is that? 2,000 miles away from where your home base is.
Yeah.
Going out, dealing with what's going on in Sag Harbor, the Hamptons. Like you got to be on the ground to figure out the base level, and then you can kind of hand it off because then you understand what's going on.
Yeah. I definitely, I don't think it was really intended that way. I didn't really think about it like that.
It seems to just happen.
And, sorry, I have clients like calling and texting me. So I didn't like go into it with that thought process.
Okay.
Right? I went there because I had to go make it happen.
Okay.
Because, like Italian Yacht Group, it's a, really nice boutique brokerage house here in Fort Lauderdale. They also have an office there, and the broker there, Boomer, gives us a lot of business, right? And he sold 25 boats in one summer, and we delivered all of them, and he said, hey, I think you do a good job up here, and your services, because we were taking care of some boats for his clients and stuff down here, and he said, what do you think about coming to the Hamptons? I said, I think that's a great idea. And we hit the ground running, and that's the deal. But I didn't go there with the intention of, all right, I'm going to train this guy, I'm going to get him ready so I don't have to go next summer. I went up there because I needed to make sure that those clients and his clients and, the Vanquish Yachts and everybody else that was involved had exactly what they needed, right? And it just sort of worked out in the other direction where I didn't have to go back the next summer. I also had my daughter and all these different things. So, I needed to spend some more time at home. And Mike's done a really, really great job. So that's kind of how it went. I didn't, like I said, I didn't go up there to, pass it off to somebody. I went up there to handle business and get the job done. And Mike and I washed every boat, did everything. I ran a boat primarily up there the first season. And, for me, I try to remain teachable, right? Like I try to learn, right? And I'm not a know-it-all. And I'll tell you, like, I'm good enough to tell you when I'm not good enough, right? And I would ask the other captains that have been there and all these other guys, like, hey, let's go for a run around on one of these boats. Show me the places, show me the things, show me what to do, not to do, whatever. So that way I don't look like an idiot when I'm out with like my client, right?
Yeah.
And I've never been afraid to ask for help, I've asked everyone in my life for help one way or another, whether it's, guidance, whether it's whatever, even the guys. We had a meeting this morning and I said, if I can do something better for you or whatever it is, let me know. You guys are obviously doing a lot for me, and, whatever it is, you know what I mean? I'm always looking for a place to improve or, ways to do better or, and that's where I think a lot of this, 1 boat to 100 boats comes from, asking for help, asking for guidance. What should I do? How can I adjust this? Where can we do better? What process can we implement that's better? What products can we use that are more efficient and better for the boats? Whatever it is, right?
Sure.
But I never took the approach of like, I'm the man, I know about all this. Look at me, I got 30 something boats and I know how to do this stuff. It's never been my nature.
Well, it's super rare for that to happen in yachting. There's not very many egos.
Yeah, right.
But so have you always kind of had that mindset, or is this something that you've had to develop over time?
Um, I think it came with owning the company,
Okay.
and making the right decisions, and learning to navigate situations accordingly, right? And there's been a lot of times where, I know that all these people that I do business with and that I help or whatever it is, they're not going to steer me in the wrong direction because it doesn't benefit them to steer me in the wrong direction, right? So, I'd pick up the phone and say, hey, what do you think about this? Like, what should we do? Like, and these are like also their clients. I'm like, hey,
Sure.
just talking about it, what do you think? We're gonna adjust this. We're gonna change this. What do you think about that? And they're like, yeah, I think it sounds like a great idea. Or they're like, no, it's a terrible idea, and this is why. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
so that's always really been the approach. But for me, it's something that I have to practice, right? It's not something that comes, supernaturally, and I have to watch myself, and I have to, see, because everybody gets on their high horse a little bit. If you don't, then I don't
Yeah.
know that you are human, but, and I got to watch myself with that, and I try to instill the same thing into my guys, the guys that were washing boats that are now calling the shots. I'm like, dial it down a little bit, take it easy. Remember, these guys are here. We're all a team. We're all here for each other. I just hired a corporate captain and like technician yesterday. And I'm like, whatever you need, I'm here for you, whatever you need me to do,
Yeah.
and same goes for him, and that's always the approach that I try to take to be helpful, and how can I help and how can I guide and what can I do to help the situation, be a solution-based person, I try. It's not I'm not perfect at it.
I heard you on the phone before. I mean, that's how this goes. But it's like, just for that example, just without details, there's situation that you're dealing with. The customer called. Well, one of the things that actually, not blowing smoke, but I was actually kind of impressed by just listening while I'm looking out at these boats. You kind of had a sense of, you knew what was going on with the entire situation. You're basically coaching the client through the situation. Here's what we've done. We did this. We know this is going to be the cost. Here's how they can do it. Here's what this company is saying they're disputing. Here's what I'd recommend. Here's like a path that you can take, and then hand it off to us once you get it here, and we'll run with it there. If that doesn't work, we got these solutions and we'll work it out. It was very much like, not
now we're standing
hey,
by.
what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
It was just like, hey, we've got the solution. Boom, boom, boom. Here you go. Here's what's going on.
Yeah, and I mean that's the deal. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to give my team a lot of credit for that because they did a lot of phone calls and back end stuff before I got on the phone with the client. But a lot of the owners, when you're a brand new boat owner, you don't know how certain things work with like warranty or whatever it is, right? Like you buy a brand new Pardo, right? That's not to say, if your engine breaks down, it's like with your car, right? Like I buy a new car, whatever, it's under warranty, great. My engine, something happens and I bring it right back to, GMC or Ford or Mercedes-Benz or Porsche or whatever it is, right?
Yep.
So, that's not how it works with boats, right? If your engine something, then it's the engine manufacturer, right? If something happens with your generator, it's the generator manufacturer. And, I try to steer the clients and sort of educate them on how it works, right? Like, no, Pardo will 100% help you out. Vanquish will 100% help you out. Pershing, all these guys with doing that. But what's going to happen is, and this is at least to my understanding, is that they're just going to call the dealer for, Volvo, Kohler, Cummins Onan, MTU, whatever it is, and get them out there. They'll just facilitate it, but it's not the Pardo technicians working on your engines. It's the Volvo guys, right?
Sure.
So it's the same situation with, with what I was just dealing with, and sort of telling him, no problem, but this probably isn't going to be covered under warranty, either way, you're going to be spending, X amount of dollars and a captain to bring the boat and the jet ski to wherever it needs to go, plus them to come pick it up, or you're going to spend X amount of dollars, which is going to end up being the same cost to have, Towboat US grab your jet ski, tow it to the boat ramp and take it out and get it done, or me, right? If I have to go get a jet ski or a tender, pull your boat somewhere, get in my truck with my trailer, haul it out and bring it somewhere, still going to be around the same money. So, but that's the situation, right? Like, we're here to help and advise and do what you need us to do.
Yeah, solve problems, like actually give that expert insight. Because if they don't know, like there's so many moving parts with all this stuff, and like you said, it doesn't work the same way. No. So having somebody that can actually guide you through it's pretty critical.
Yeah, and and that's what we're here for, right? And yes, we're here to maintain the boat. We're here to fix things. We're here to troubleshoot and wash and detail and do the daily and weekly maintenance and checking and all these other things. But we're also here to sort of educate as well, when the time is right. Like I'm never going to tell somebody like, this is why you're wrong, but more the approach of like, how can I help you understand how this works or whatever it is. Because, for me, like, I don't know, like I wouldn't know if I like just never, had a yacht in my life. And it was my first boat. That's a $3 million, whatever it is, with all these super crazy advanced systems and technology and stuff. I'd want to get a rundown sort of on how things go, but we're, like I said, we're here to help and advise and do our direct job of managing and maintaining the boat. But, I learned early on, don't get on the phone until you have a solution. I got chewed out a lot of times, and one of my clients a long time ago said, listen, like, just some advice, like, don't pick up the phone and call me. And he wasn't like being like mean about it. He was just like, don't call me until like you have a solution in place, because like the problem, great, but what are you going to do moving forward, right? So, that's just
it's one of those business lessons that you pick up, because you're dealing with business people a lot of times too.
They all are, and and they get it, you know what I mean? It's a treacherous game, because it's the toy that they want to have fun with and all this. And we do every single thing possible that I can to make sure that the toy is working and operating the right way when they want to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's been countless times I've personally been on boats till 2:00 in the morning trying to figure stuff out, and even my team, my guys, we do whatever it takes at all costs, no matter what operation, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the deal for us. There's I'm sure other companies or people out there that are kind of like 9 to 5, and we're not working on the weekends unless it's like a dire emergency and stuff like that. It's just not how we operate.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we talked about yesterday too was just like attention to detail. So you were saying early on from the beginning, you'd have like sheets with people's info, names, like how they like the boat set up, info about preferences, like who their family is and things like that. Like, why was that a key part for you?
Well, it goes back to like having a lot of boats, right? Like you have to have everything, and I want to say my fiance like taught me this, because like whatever, but she said she said you got to write things down. Like you have to, like, she's a business major and smart woman, and she's like, this is like how you should do this, right? And again, like I feel like I'm a teachable guy, and I'll take your advice, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then
it is what it is. Yeah.
And so, I would always, when you have a lot of boats, you can't just always like go to the boat or be on the boat, because I might be in West Palm Beach on a boat doing something, and I have something going on in Miami, and I need to be able to, look in my phone quick or call one of my team members and say, I need this information right now. I'm on the phone with Diesel Services America or Jazz Marine or whoever,
Sure.
Whatever technician or Vanquish or Pardo or whoever these people are, and say, here's the serial number, here's the model number, this is what's happening, this is the code that it threw, this is that. So that way we can expedite the time of repair or getting them to the boat or addressing something, or when I get on the phone with the client, I have that solution, I know what's going on. And I have the rundown of the entire, machine or whatever it is, whether it's the engines, whether it's, whatever's going on, right? So, documenting that stuff is always extremely important, and keeping it somewhere that's at your fingertips that you can have right away.
Yeah.
When I had 3 boats, not so big of a deal.
Yeah, whatever.
Because I was there, most of the time. Yeah, it'd be nice to go on my phone and take a look, whatever. But I was normally like there or right down the street or on the boat already. And, if I was on the phone with somebody, hold on 1 second, go in the engine room, get the part number, the serial or model number, whatever it is, and see you later, But I think and this is just for me and my business and life, as we grow and approach 100 boats, you have to be super, super on top of things all the time, right? Because there's a lot more room for failure and a lot more room to, make a mistake or miss something or forget something or whatever, And so when we have that information right there in our phone, and every single person that's involved with any sort of calling, scheduling, organizing, whatever, has that same information, it makes our life a lot easier. And not only that, on the other side of it, it makes, for a quicker repair time or whatever else, a lot of the time, which, filters into our level of service and how we care for boats and what we do and our brand and all of that, right? So, I think digitizing things is super important, especially now that we have that technology,
Yeah.
20, 30 years ago,
Wasn't really an option.
We're writing down in notebooks,
Yep.
And we have on every single boat we have hard copy, like checklists and logs and stuff like that. Now all that stuff with, like Vessel Vanguard turning into something that's a little easier to use, that you always have on you, and that you can access anytime, anywhere, and have that information.
Yeah. And you start working from the same source of data. It's not, hey, somebody's got this logbook, and then, can you send a picture of that and then send it over, and then we'll get back to you. Because, and the difference with that too, or tell me if I'm wrong on this, but the difference between having that info is the difference between that solution for the customer, right? Of, hey, I know what part, what make, model, serial number, everything is on the boat. I'm going to call whoever I need to call, service rep, whoever it might be, figure out the solution. I have it scheduled. Here's the info. Here's the dimensions of this. Here are the hoses. Here's everything. When can you be there? I can be there tomorrow morning. Perfect. Get that scheduled. And then when you call, that's the conversation versus, hey, we know that there's an issue. I'm going to send somebody out there now. They're going to find out. And then I'll call you back in 3 hours and let you know what the solution is.
Right.
And then that guy won't be able to get there until the next day or 2 days later.
Yeah.
And they might even have to come back out to the boat to do another measurement, or you had the wrong part number or serial number, whatever it might be. And now we got to order this. So the process can go from a quick
couple
3
days
minutes
to weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, just being proficient and efficient with things is good. You have to know what you're writing down, and you have to understand it, and you also have to know, and be able to have that stuff readily available at all times.
Yeah, for sure.
And that helps us with with the scaling of having this many boats, right? It's crazy as it is. You know what I mean? And going back to the detail of things, right? Like, we provide a service that's so specific to the client that it's like, we have to be, like I said, and very organized, have everything written down, the setups, all these different things. We're buying the specific brand of water and the specific size water bottle for our clients. Like, you know what I mean? Times, right now over 80 boats. You have to have these things written down. You won't be able to accomplish it successfully if it's not, right? Yep. There's just no possible way. There's no one person in this world that'll be able to nail it every single time without having something written down. You know, even just the little stuff. And like I was explaining to my guys, every single thing when it comes to a boat, and this is my opinion, and again, I could be like completely wrong, but to me, every single thing on a yacht and in yachting is important. Every single thing.
What do you mean?
From, the way the boat performs, how it runs, how it looks, how it feels, how it smells, all these different things, right? So if my engines don't run, but my boat's perfectly washed,
great.
What's the point, right? If my engines and all my systems are dialed in, perfect, flawless, running, perfect RPMs, all these different things, and everything is good, but the boat's a complete disaster, trashed mess, what's the point, right? So all of these things have to come together, and that's where a lot of my focus always has been, but really is now, right? With dealing with this many boats, every single thing is on a service schedule. Every single thing is getting looked at. Every single thing is getting, some sort of attention, whatever it is. Go in the engine room, look around, check this, check that, run this, on top of the way the metal is polished, on top of the way, I walk on boats and I've trained my team, every water bottle needs to be facing the same direction. Every single thing needs to be, when you open something up, it needs to look perfectly organized, because what happens if an owner walks on a boat and, it's washed really nice, you open the refrigerator and there's like nasty food and old drinks and stuff in there, you're like, yachting is a very like luxurious, prestigious thing. It's not, and the idea when I started YMS was to bring in the 150, 200 foot yacht sort of atmosphere and everything into the 40 and 50 foot boats. Like I guarantee you, if you walked out there on that boat right now and opened up their refrigerator in the galley or wherever or on deck, everything is perfect. And that's always been the idea. For me, right? The way the towels are rolled, the way that, like you heard me on the phone, make sure that the towels, the owner said, I want the towels washed the way that it's laid out on the tag. You know what I mean? So that's like what we're catering to. It's not just like, oh, willy-nilly, go wash the towels, see you later, bring them back to the boat. It's very like, organized and all of that. And like I said, sometimes we drop the ball. Sometimes. And that's going to happen. It's going to happen to anybody. I don't care if you have one boat or 1,000 boats. It's going to happen.
But if you got these systems in place, you mitigate that.
Oh, yeah. We've definitely lessened the room for failure, for sure, by staying organized, I have videos in my phone of how the owners want the boat set up. And I have clients that are like, I don't care, just uncover it. And I have clients that are like, I want 3 towels here, 3 towels here, these waters in this refrigerator, these beers in this refrigerator, this is what needs to go. These are the towels for the bathroom. These are the towels for the exterior, stuff like that are all extremely specific. I want this ice bucket with this bottle of wine in it. When, like we were talking about, when I arrive to the boat, this is how we want. And rightfully so, right? Like we just spent all this money on this boat. You pay a lot of money for a management and, service team, and, you want things that way, right? Sure. And that's who we cater to, right? But like I said, I have some clients that are just like, oh, I didn't know you'll uncover my boat for me. I'm like, yeah, just, let us know. We'll be there. That's cool. And, and we have to cater to all these different personalities. Right. So by having things written down, by having things organized on spreadsheets or schedules or, software like yours, it helps us, not fail at what we're doing, while also making our job and our life a little bit easier along the way, right? But the most important thing above all is client happiness, customer service,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That's why I've been on boats till 2:00 in the morning, right?
Yeah, just getting things done.
Because I have to. Because for me, it's, I've always said this: the success of YMS and my client's happiness is like life or death for me. It's not a game. It's not a little whatever thing. It's not even a numbers game. I needs to succeed or no good.
Yeah.
And that's just how I guess I'm wired. I don't know, but that's how I've done it.
Nice. Well, and one of the last things I wanted to talk to you about was this trend towards some of these smaller yachts, the 40, 50-foot yachts versus some of these Goliath guys that we're looking at here, Bahia. So what's your thoughts on that trend?
Like we were talking about a little bit the other day, I see like a lot of my clients who, we have a lot of extremely wealthy clients that, can have, very big yachts and 150, 200 footers, 90 footers, 80 footers, all these things. And what I've seen is, a lot of these people, like the client I was just with, right? He literally just said to me, he's like, yeah, like this is the idea behind having this boat. I want to be able to just hop on and like go for a cruise with my kids and just hang out and like, not really have to like have a whole captain and crew and 5 stewardesses and, a deckhand and all these first mates and all this stuff. And just to be able to kind of just go cruise around and spend some private time with like my family and stuff like that. And I think that a lot, I think that there's that aspect of it. And I think that there's also the, aggravation aspect of it. When you're dealing with a smaller boat with less options, less TVs, less nav systems, less, ice makers, less refrigerators, less generators, less things that break on boats. It's a peace of mind thing, right? And a lot of these guys with, like the higher end boats like Vanquish, Pardo, stuff like that, are able to accomplish the same thing that they would on a 80 or 90 foot boat, and like I said, when we were talking, like I'm all for a big yacht. I think it's an amazing thing, having a jacuzzi and this and big, huge stateroom, and it's nice and you're sleeping on it and you got a, big family or a lot of friends or something like that. I think it's an amazing idea. Right. But there's a lot that goes with that, right?
Big time.
It's like having a business. It's like having another business, right? You have to deal with the people, like your crew. You have to, have payroll. You have to have all these different things, compliance stuff, certain stuff like that. I'm not like a big boat guy. I don't try to be, but, there's a lot that goes into that when you can accomplish really the same thing, like dinner at Sea Spice, anchoring at Nixon, playing around, running around on Sea Bobs, whatever the case is, having food on board, and 10 people on board. You can do that same exact thing on a 50 Pardo, a 58 Vanquish, a 45 Vanquish, a 43 Pardo, 47 Intrepid, stuff like that. We have a bunch of 47 Azimuth Verbs, right? Like, they offer, that boat offers TV, cooktop, ice makers, all these different things, a bunch of refrigeration, sun pads, all this stuff that, a 100-foot yacht offers. It's obviously a lot smaller, a lot more, condensed, but that's just my opinion and what I'm seeing, right? Like, I just don't see like a lot of these guys that can have these huge yachts. A lot of them, it's like, it's like cars for them or something. Like they like to go out and drive it themselves. They like learning about it. They like, understanding the systems. Like I got a client that just took delivery of a boat 2 weeks ago, read the whole owner's manual, front to back. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like probably knows more about the boat than the manufacturer, right? Like it's, So, that's just the direction that I'm seeing things go. And maybe it's just in my direct fleet and in my clients, maybe. But it seems to be that a lot of these owners are starting to sort of get away from the bigger yachts. I have clients that we just did a trip. I had a captain and crew go over to the Bahamas for a week on a 58 Vanquish, and they slept in like this nice villa. Like the owner slept in this huge nice villa and like all these different things. Like I have clients that have 80-foot boats that don't even sleep on them, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's like either take the 80-footer or 100-footer versus the 58, and if you're going to take it there and you're going to sleep in a villa or do anything like that.
You have your boat there, you go boating all day, whatever, snorkel, dive, hang out, chill, whatever. Come back and you're going back to your hotel room,
Yeah.
But like I said, I've had and had clients that, have big boats and love it and sleep on them and have their families and do big trips and all these different things. And I think that's amazing. And I think that it just goes with like the program of the boat, like what you're doing, where you're going, stuff like that. But, just seems to be that people are going towards the higher end, smaller day boats, more so than ever. I don't know if it's a trend or whatever, but I think it's a good idea. It's cool. It's a lot less stress, less hassle, less stuff. A lot of the times cheaper, things like that. Plus you still have a beautiful yacht, that's awesome. It's just not a 90-foot, San Lorenzo or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and you can even use them as tenders. And actually, when we were here filming another interview, right there was, I don't know, it was at least an 80-footer with a Vanquish as the tender. I'm not sure what size Vanquish, but just sitting right there, and you can even use it as a tender. I mean, and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Like when they're polished up, those are slick looking boats.
Yeah, they're fun, and I'm super grateful because we have such a great relationship with them, and we have a new amazing relationship with part of Yachts Miami as well. But we get like the nicest stuff. We get the coolest, newest, stuff. We have Wallies, we have other stuff. And all of our boats, we've hit like this little, space in the market that, we start with a lot of brand new boats, right? And it's great. A lot of the boats that we have today, we've gotten since brand new that are 4 or 5 years old,
Sure.
And it's awesome, like seeing, like we get excited. It's like it's like Christmas, like new presents, coming, I got about 20 boats that are getting delivered between now and the end of the year. Vanquishes, Pardos, stuff like that, a bunch of 58s coming in. And it's cool to see like the little changes and the new stuff they do. I'm actually going to be going to the factory this summer, to see how it all goes down. But, it's cool to see like all the new, like little things they're doing, like, just the little stuff like, they added like this carbon fiber deck shower now. It's like, just little stuff like that. It's really cool. And, learning some of the new systems, like when they switch from Raymarine to Garmin and how that all like sort of works, and with their, certain, like their software for the boat, how, turning lights on, turning pumps on, things like that. It's exciting, right? And I try to remember that, because we could very well be working on, 15, 20-year-old stuff that's just kind of like, but we're fortunate enough, and I'm super grateful to be involved with these companies and being able to, handle the brand new, cool, fun toys. It's awesome. It's great. So,
Well, dude, thanks for coming and doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to touch on?
Not really, no. I think we nailed it.
Nice. And where can people get a hold of you, whether it's Instagram or reach out to you if they want to work with you?
Yeah, our Instagram's real big. definitely Instagram. It's YMS_FL. My personal number is 754-465-2913. And then, on Instagram, there's, the link and everything will take you to the website, mgtservices.com. And our email's on there as well. So, pretty easy to reach.
Sweet.
So,
And we'll put it in the show notes and everything
Awesome.
too. But
Cool. I appreciate
Jared, thanks
it.
for doing this, man.
Definitely. Awesome. Thanks for having me.